Right, hello everyone. I just thought I'd make this video as all the new characters are out. They've been out for ages, but now, but I just thought I'd make it anyway. Be a bit of fun. So we have a easy to hard sort of graph that I'm going to put together here with every character in the game. I'll start off as easy, and I'll go all the way up to pro. You don't actually need to be a pro player, the ones at the top, but just as well, I'm not. These are not going to be ordered. I don't feel like you can do a sort of tier list like this and order every character from easy to hard. I don't think that's actually. I don't really think that's possible, just because kits are like have so much that go into them and stuff. So I'm just going to categorize them all into these 4 categories anyway. Let's get going. So starting off, I've put Mo and Krill into easy. He really doesn't have a lot of stuff going on with his kit that's very hard to use. His ult is a point and click, his E is an AoE. His Pyro just makes him move quicker and he's pretty much invincible. And he has a disarm that's just, again, a massive AoE. And his role on the team is very simple as well. He soaks up damage and he holds enemies in place. I mean, that's essentially what you're doing on Mo and Krill. He's very easy. Next up, I have Haze, which can be seen as quite a controversial take. Haze's kit is quite simple. It was in like a Sleep Dagger is a little bit of a skill shot. Invis is just a you go invisible and run faster kind of thing. And her ult is just sort of like a reproc from Overwatch. It's just a massive AoE attack, really. Although, you know, so the thing is with these sort of gun catchers, they can be argued that they are technically sort of infinitely difficult, because with these gun characters they're going to be better if you're hitting the head every single time, and if you're doing that on a Haze, obviously that's extremely hard to do. Most players, well, pretty much, yeah, most players cannot do that. Just kit wise, I'm going to put Haze in easy. Abilities aren't that hard to use. Again, very simple role. You farm up a load and then just kill everyone. Next up I have Seven. So yes, again, Seven is a very, I would recommend Seven to a lot of new players to this game. He's great at taking objectives, great at farming, very easy kit to use. He's a big ball, a trap, a massive AoE ult. He's great to pick up. He's good to learn the game with as well. Next up I have Warden. I just don't think Warden's abilities are that complicated. He has sort of grenade, a good trap, an ult that sort of just literally mow down everyone, and that's kind of it really. And then so, you know, and he's a big tanky character. He's good at carrying games. He can crush low elo lobbies. So yeah, I'll put Warden in easy. Next up's Infernus. Again, another gun character. Well, it's a gun spirit hybrid, but Infernus rewards you for tracking very well. If you're good at tracking, I would highly recommend picking up Infernus as your first character. Other than that, his kit is quite simple. Again, just big AoE ult. He's got dash. He's got like a little napalm thing. And he burns people. He's very simple role. Again, you sort of just want to farm up on him and do that kind of stuff. Infernus is quite easy, I thought. So next up's Mirage. Mirage has a few techy things with his ult. Obviously, you can use your ult. The way you use your ult can determine how easy or hard this character really is. Like, obviously, you can use it very well to rotate, get to places where you want. But it's quite a simple ult at the end of the day. And your sort of role is just to shoot the enemies, really. His abilities are pretty easy to use as well, so yeah, I put Mirage in easy. Okay, so moving on to the intermediate tier. First character I've got is Abrams. A lot of people think Abrams is really easy. I think he's a little bit harder than these characters here, just because you on lane have to be like very up in their face, punching them. You got to be like baiting out their parries and stuff. You got to be very careful of how you're managing your health, because obviously if you're going to be always in front of them in close range, they're going to be hitting you a lot. So I think Abrams is, you need a little bit of movement for that kind of stuff. So I'll put Abrams in this tier. Next up I have Wraith. I think Wraith, a lot of people think she's a little bit harder, but I'm quite happy putting Wraith here, especially after the new patch where they just made her insane. Her ult is just a point and click, just throw them where you want. You lob a card at them and sort of look at them. So she has some like infinite ammo ability and an escape ability. And yeah, I mean she's a hyper carry. She takes objectives quick, does a lot of damage. Yeah, I think it's a good spot for her. Next up, I'm gonna put Celeste. Celeste is sort of just like a mage lane bully, just a massive. You're mainly gonna be using her big sort of what do you call it? A sort of big AOE 3 attack. Your ult you do need to hit, and they also got rid of the refund on it, so you do need to hit it now. Other than that, other than the movement side of her, I would say She definitely fits in this tier. Movement can spike her up a little bit more though. Next up, Bebop. You just got to be hitting those hooks really. Once you get those hooks down, Bebop should be absolutely fine. His ult is just a massive beam, you know, and he can hit them far away, bomb them. You know, the bomb mecha shot bomb. You know, it's not that hard to pick up. So I think that's a good tier for Bebop. Billy's quite similar to Abrams, I think. He again, people can argue he could be higher, but he's just one of these characters that needs to be very close up to them, which I just think would make a character a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I think that's. So I think Billy go here. Other than that, he's just very tanky, very hard to kill, that kind of stuff. But I think it's intermediate. Next we've got Drifter. Drifter's just sort of like a run and gun character. You just kind of just like mow down the enemy team late game, make everyone blind, all that kind of stuff. He's like an assassin. I don't think it's very hard, other than hitting that in the mark. But other than that, yeah, Drifter there. Next up, Bebop. Bebop can definitely be argued for higher tiers, but I think this is a fine tier for him, honestly. Get the quantum entanglement down, you're absolutely fine. His ult is just absolutely insane. It's very easy to hit people with. His one is massive, does loads of damage. He heals, he usually heal your allies, but you've got to be good on that timing with the two. The two's the hard part of his kit, I think. You got to have really good reactions and know when to use it. But get that down, you're absolutely fine. Next up is Graves. You literally don't have to aim on this character. The only thing that I'd say is a little bit tricky is knowing when to split and where to split. So obviously I see Graves as a bit of a split pusher in this game. She's very good. She's very similar to, like, I don't know, you could say like Trundle. I would say she's like Trundle in League. You want to just push. You want to push waves and not get caught out, not give the enemies kills. You got to know how to push lanes, that kind of stuff. Next up, Grey Talon. Grey Talon's just one of the flying characters. You sort of sit in the sky, shoot them, then you use your ult and you sort of just hit him even harder. I don't think there's anything really too hard about him, to be honest, other than having to hit your shots in the air. Which is a little bit different to every other character in the game, other than another blue woman. But then moving on, I have Ivy. Ivy is, I think Ivy's best played as a support, so she could be a little bit tricky with just knowing how to use the ult and all of the other abilities well alongside your team. It was especially the ult, more so because you can actually take someone with you, right? And you want to, and you know, is that always a good option? It might not be. If you're going to use it on your own, where you're going to go, are you going to go into a team fight, you're going to go to a lane split it, so you've got to be everywhere at once with Ivy, you've got to make use of that. Other than that, mostly pretty easy. Next up we've got Kelvin. Kelvin's the big tank support. You hit your abilities. Ult is a little, I'll say the ult's probably the hardest part of his kit. Or the I don't know the name of it, the one where he just runs and there's like a snow path. But with the ult, I think it can be a little bit tricky just because you have to know what enemies you want inside the dome, because there's been so many times when I've been fed and an Infernus has ulted me and I've just killed him in his own ult. So it's not always good for him, and I think that's the one part you need to know with Kelvin, is when to use the ult really. Next up I've got Lady G. I think her gun is very hard to hit on enemies, and you've got to be hitting enemies. With the 2, you have to be in line of sight with them. You have to hit the 3. You have to know when to. You have to have very quick reaction times to hit the ult, and be close up to them as well. So I think that's a good tier for Lady G. Next up we've got McGuinness. I think McGuinness it comes down to just a lot of like positioning, a lot of timing, especially with the wall. Other than that, she's I think pretty simple. Her gun's very easy to use. But yeah, it's just sort of like knowing where to position the turrets, knowing where to position yourself. You know how to time that wall as well to actually hit the enemies with it. And do you want to use the wall more so for like saving your teammates, or for, you know, attacking the enemies with? Lots of different things with that. Next up I have Paige. Paige is just a character, obviously, that, you know, similar to Ivy, just another really good support character. I think the hardest part about Paige is like obviously using the shield in its best scenarios. You know, if your enemies are getting low, you got to know. Sorry, not the enemies. So like, if your teammates are getting low, you have to be very aware of this. You have to be aware of your teammates and how they're doing, know when to shield them, that kind of stuff. And hitting that the sword sort of circular stun, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have to be hitting these things, and also with the shield, just protecting your teammates. I think it's a little bit harder than just shooting them, but yeah. Next up I've got Rem. The reason I put him here is that Rem can definitely go into the easy tier, but I think with Rem, his biggest thing at the moment is getting souls from sinners. I think you've got to know the timings pretty well on these sinners, right? Because if you get all these sinners up, stealing the enemy's sinners and stuff with your minions, you're gonna be so ahead, and you can really go crazy with Rem. Which is really cool. I'm really glad they made Rem more of like more of a character. I'm comparing him a little bit to Yumi with his 2 ability. I'm really glad they made Rem more so of an actual character rather than like sit on them and not do anything. But yeah, so moving on, I got Venator. I think Venator's pretty simple. He's got a good melee build at the moment. But yeah, his abilities they're very basic. He's just he's very just like gun character, third-person shooter character, I guess. But he's got a lot of cool stuff. He's got like a trap. You got to be hitting those stuns and stuff. The ult's a little bit hard to hit, but it's not that bad. A little bit of difficulty might be like the trap setup, but other than that, I'd say intermediate. Next up, I got Victor. I think you need to know how to play Victor. Like know his power spikes and stuff. Other than that, he's pretty simple. His ult is literally cast for you. He just has a massive aura. Just be aware of your health, I guess. But other than that, no, Victor's pretty simple. Next up, I got Vindictor. So Vindictor is another flying character, stupid damage. If you're coming from CSGO and you ever use like the AWP or anything, or you like snipers, just pick this character, you'll be absolutely fine. I personally don't, so I do find it quite hard to play. But for players that know how to snipe and stuff, you'll be absolutely fine. Vindictor's really simple, she's really strong. Next up I got Viper. Viper again, Viper's really easy. Huge damage. You've got to be making use of her passive with the slides. You've got to be sliding around with her a lot. Hitting those ones, getting close enough to use the 2. Ult also a skill shot. If you miss it, it's on cooldown. You've fucked it. And also, you gotta know when to use the ult as well, because they're just going to be a stone block. So no enemies can hit them. It can actually end up just staggering the fight. Very similar to like Doorman's ult, right? But yeah, I'd put Viper here. Moving on to the hard characters, I've got Pocket up first. I think Pocket takes some learning. He's got some combos. He needs to be able to escape. He needs to be able to engage with them. Yeah, he's got a lot of combos. Damage over time ult as well doesn't kill. So yeah, I think this guy's pretty hard to play. Next up, I got Paradox. Again, just a very hard character. You need to know how to engage with her. Ult is a skill shot. You gotta hit it. Knowing when to use the wall. You can protect yourself, your teammates. And the carbine is like a charge up, and that can be really hard to hit, but it's rewarding if you do. But all of her kit is just very hard to use and sort of understand. Next up I got Mina. One of the reasons she's hard is just because she is so easy to kill. She has such little health. Like you can't even really do sinners on this character because it'll just kill her. So you need to know how to get out. You got to know how to use the 2. Her 2 is a little bit techy to use. It's a little bit different than every other dash. You got to be stacking up. Her gun's a little bit tricky to hit, and you've got to stack it up, and you got to harass them, go around the side of the lanes, be hitting them, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, she's pretty tricky. Next up, I got Yamato. The reason why I put Yamato in hard is just because you've got to be ahead on this character. Because I think Yamato is more of a duelist, a bit more of a brawler character. You're gonna be fighting, if you see a 1v1, you probably want to take it, and you've got to be winning them because that's her role. So, and obviously, she's got combos and stuff. Her ult, you need good timing with the ult. You gotta refresh it, and then there's lots of stuff going into Yamato. And if you're not ahead, it's gonna be pretty miserable for the rest of the game. Just because you're not even going to do your main role. So yeah, I think she's hard. Next up, I got Lash. I think Lash is pretty tricky. Some people may put him lower, but I think Lash is quite hard. You have a big role in the team, especially with your ult, because you can pick everyone up and just throw them and wherever you want. And you got to be hitting that as well. You got crazy mobility on this character with the 2. So there's a lot of movement and a lot of team play. A lot of team combos that go into this character, so I'd say he's quite hard. Next up, I got Silver. The reason I put Silver in hard is because her gun is really hard to use. You've got to be like hitting. It's like the pump shotgun in Fortnite, bro. It's like you've got to be hitting it, otherwise you're gonna be pretty useless. Her bowler is a skill shot, and then you've got her 2 is a dash that kicks them, and then you can do some techie stuff where you flip them around and push them towards your team instead. And then with the 1, you've got instead of just hitting one shot of the gun, you have to hit 3 in a row. and then an alt form, and then you've got to take the responsibility of being the main target and just trying to kill the enemy team while they're all going for you. So you've got a big responsibility on this character, and I think that makes it quite difficult. Next up, I got Apollo. The only reason I put him in hard is because this character is based around parrying, and you can parry literally anything in the game with this character. And for that reason, I'm gonna say he's hard, because there's gonna be like a huge skill ceiling, where you have to know what to parry. Basically, it's not just, oh, you know, there's an enemy in front of me, I'll parry his bullet. I'll be like, oh, hold on, I can actually use the parry to get rid of an ult or something, and then stun the enemy, and help the team out, that kind of stuff. Yeah, parrying, obviously, huge skill ceiling. Next, I've got Shiv. Reason why he's been made a lot harder, just because he has 2 stamina now. I put him here because he has crazy good mobility, right? And a lot of that takes a long time to learn. And mobility is such a big thing in this game, and to learn it as well is a little bit tricky. And also just the character's kit himself. I'm not going to go over the ult. I don't think the ult's too hard. But obviously hitting the knives, making sure they're low enough, making sure that rage meter is also filled as well. I think you got a lot to keep track of on this character, so I think he goes in hard. Next up, I've got Calico. The reason why is because you've got to be pretty in and out on this character. Like, you go in with the cat, go in, get out, and you got to be, you know, not die while doing that. But she's not as like squishy as Mina at the same time. But I do see Calico as more of an assassin. I think her 1's pretty hard to hit, and you've got like all this dashy stuff. And also the other thing with Calico is you got to know the box timings as well, because when those little cardboard boxes come around the map, Calico is really efficient at clearing them. So you can really, you know, make use of her in the sense of like, you can turn into cat, run around, get all the enemies' boxes, and you're going to be head and souls and just like snowballing. But that's hard to do because you've got to know the timings for all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd say she's hard. And now on to our final tier, the pro tier. First one going in the pro tier is Sinclair. I just want to quickly say, I think Sinclair is the hardest character in the game. The reason I say that is because there's quite a few things actually. First thing I'm going to say is his ult. So his ult is that he uses other people's ult. There are so many steps to this, I think it's insane. Number one is that you've got to know how to utilize every single character's ult in the game well, and you've got to know which one to pick. So out of all of these characters on screen right now, I mean, it's like, if you know, say you're playing against 6 of them, which one has the best ult, which one is the best in that scenario? Other thing is that you have to be close enough to steal the ult from them. There's just so many things with the ult. Also, his 1 is insanely hard to hit. He's got the movement thing, where he goes back and forth between the two. I don't know the name of him, but you get what I mean. He's the hardest character in the game, I think. Coming up second is Doorman. Doorman can do some crazy setups with his door, obviously. But yes, I think Doorman's got a lot going for him. Basically, just like an infinite amount of possibilities with his doors. Similar to Viper with the ult, but I don't think that's what makes him hard. I think he's purely here just because of how much tech can go into that 2 ability with doors, and obviously the trolley as well. Next up is I've put Viscous. I think Viscous is pretty hard. His kit is complicated. I'd say his kit is just very complicated. His puddle punch, you gotta know how to like juggle people. You can like cube teammates, juggle with them and stuff. You know, so you got to take care of your teammates with the cube, take care of yourself. He's got like 2 different firing modes, and his ult can be good for team fights, and it's quite hard to use as well. But it can also be used for splitting lanes and getting out. So he's got so much going on in his kit. He's a very complicated character. Also the fact you can parry his puddle punches as well. You've got to be a little bit clever with them. Coming on to our last character is Holiday. I think Holiday is pretty hard, especially because their 3 is pretty much useless. You're pretty much playing the game with 3 abilities. And even if it wasn't useless, you've got to be hitting their head and stuff with like a revolver that's a little bit tricky. But also with Holiday, the movement is just like unbelievably hard to learn. With the bounce pads, there's so much you can do. She's a skill shot ult. The barrel trajectory is really weird, I find. So yeah, Holiday's just got a steep learning curve. But yeah, there we go. This is every character ranked as just the hardest. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you a lot later.